Hey guys, keeping it casual up here. And today I'm going to be talking about vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. So, what is vitamin D? The basic definition I could give you is vitamin D is a hormone that enables you to absorb calcium, but it does a lot more than just that, as I'll reveal later on. But for now, let's just take a look at the forms. So, we have vitamin D2, which is manufactured by plants, and you can get that from eating mushrooms. Or you have vitamin D3, which is manufactured within the skin, or at least partly. The synthesis part starts within the skin, but it's more complicated than that. So, how is vitamin D3 and D2 created/absorbed? So, vitamin D3 is first synthesized in the skin by exposure to UVB light. It's within the UV light range, and the specific range for UVB light is 290 to 310 nanometers, and that's enough to induce DNA damage, which is why you can't get too much exposure to UVB, but too little means you can't make any of your own vitamin D3. You need that UVB light to stimulate a pre-cholesterol product that's within the skin, and from there, that precursor to vitamin D3 is circulated in the blood, and it goes to the liver, where it's hydroxylated. And hydroxylation is just it's a funny way of saying I'm gonna add a hydroxyl group to this molecule. And an hydroxyl group is basically just an oxygen and a hydrogen stuck together. That's pretty much it. So after it's hydroxylated in the liver, it's circulated again in the blood, where it goes and gets hydroxylated again within the kidneys. And vitamin D2 takes a similar path. The difference starts at the beginning. Or as I said before, vitamin D2 is consumed, and it's digested the same way you would think that food is digested. Eat it, goes through the esophagus, stomach, gets absorbed through the intestines, and then it flows in the bloodstream, gets hydroxylated, and you have the same not the same active form of vitamin D, but you have an active form of vitamin D circulating within the blood. As for the vitamin D that isn't biologically active, they are stored in the fatty tissue of the body, or the adipose. It's pretty much fat. It's fat. So, and there are other tissues that tend to accumulate more vitamin D than others. Those would include the kidneys, the liver, the lungs, the aorta, and the heart. Hey. Alright guys, now I know I mentioned that vitamin D does more than just help you absorb calcium, and that's true. And I'm going to go over some of those functions that I found. But first off, I want to tell you guys that there are many vitamin D receptors located in many places throughout the body. I'm just going to read off a couple. So bones, connective tissue, alimentary tract, the liver, kidneys. Okay, we knew those. We knew those too. Heart, wow. Skeletal smooth muscle, cartilage. Reproductive places. Hey, the skin, the nervous system. Oh, the immune system as well. All right. Now we're working with something. So that's pretty much everywhere. Pretty much everywhere, yeah. So let me read through my next list. First one. There was a study performed on animals that shows that with vitamin D treatment, it was proven that it can reduce the rejection of allografts of the heart, kidney, and liver. And allograft is basically just a tissue graft, if you're wondering. And let's see, what else? Helps reduce inflammation for IBS. There's a lot of people with IBS. I'm sure they'd like that. Oh, and this one's a good one. Multiple sclerosis. So it's been found that more incidences of multiple sclerosis are found in northern temperate parts of the world, more than in the tropics. And it's been found that vitamin D supplementation reduces the risk of developing MS by as much as 40%. That was on humans, not animals this time. And vitamin D is also known to trigger an immune response within the skin that can kill microbes and start the inflammation response, which is sometimes a good thing. It depends. That can be another video. And vitamin D has also been shown to affect the rat pup development of the brain. And let's see, it's said to have a neurosteroid effect because with less vitamin D, there was less prolificness of the brain cells within the rat pups. And another one, muscle function. Wow. Vitamin D is needed to regulate the muscle function and the myogenesis, so creation of muscle cells. And there's evidence for this because the myocytes, or the muscle cells, they have vitamin D receptors, and it's also necessary to be able to send calcium into the muscle cells so that they can contract. It's more complex than that, but I'm gonna leave it at that. Contraction magic. All right. And one of the most notable things I found about vitamin D in the book that I've been reading. What a nice book. Oh my gosh. What a nice book. One of the things I found was that it can help decrease the chances of getting certain types of cancer. The ones I found were colon, prostate, and it was colon, prostate, and breast cancer. That's right. And it helped reduce the proliferation and the metastasis of these cancers. And metastasis is just a fancy word for saying that cancer will move around the body. Yeah, I thought that was pretty freaking neato. Alright. So, the vitamin D deficiency symptoms, what are they? Rickets. What is that? Well, it is a disorder caused by vitamin D deficiency that leads to the deformation of weight-bearing bones in children. It also can lead to the enlargement of epiphyseal growth plates. That's basically where the cartilage is in the joints. It's on the bone that's rotating, but connected to the joint. That's the simplest way I could put it. And rickets could also lead to bone pain and muscle tenderness. That's not good. And its counterpart, osteomalcia, occurs within older folks. Well, I don't want to say like geriatric old, but yeah, them too. Yeah, just adults. It's the adult version of rickets, basically. And then there's osteoporosis, which is a decreased bone density. It's always associated with, not always, but usually associated with vitamin D deficiency. And old people are the most susceptible to that disease because apparently vitamin D absorption goes down when you grow older. And post-menopausal women are the most susceptible to this disease. So, I didn't think this would be too much of an issue, but I thought I'd bring it up anyway. So, overdosing on vitamin D. It's very unlikely unless you're taking a supplement for vitamin D. And you have to take some pretty extreme doses to get to that point, like upwards of 50,000 IUs. And right around that point is when you'll start experiencing symptoms like the following. You could experience gastrointestinal distress, nausea, vomiting, headaches, weakness. And in this book that I'm reading, a very good book, The Vitamins, Fundamental Aspects of Nutrition and Health, it attributes the weakness to the inability to be able to send calcium for muscle contractions. So I think that's a valid point, valid hypothesis. Doesn't say that for sure though, but could be. And back to the symptoms. Another one would be polyuria. So basically pissing a lot, like 2.5 liters or more. And polydipsia is going to come into play too because it's drinking excessive water. Also, another symptom would be nervousness, hypercalcemia, which is too much calcium in the blood, and calcinosis, which is basically a disorder where your body's just depositing calcium in the skin and the tissues as well as the organs. Alright guys, so I've gone over vitamin D deficiency as well as vitamin D overdosing. So what's next? Well, how are we going to get that vitamin D? As I mentioned before, we can manufacture our own vitamin D, or we can get it from eating other creatures. I said that plants can make their own vitamin D too, but there are creatures that can make their own vitamin D3 as well, such as fish. Fish are really potent sources of vitamin D. So if you're gonna go for vitamin D intake, that would be the way to go. Cod liver oil is one of the most potent sources of vitamin D. 1 tablespoon of that stuff, and you have over 300% of your daily intake of vitamin D. Now, that's pretty sweet. Not a lot of foods that are that potent in a particular vitamin. If I was trying to supplement my diet with foods, not like a pure supplement, I would go for cod liver oil. Or maybe swordfish, because I'm curious to know what that tastes like. Of course, you can always go with salmon or tuna fish or some other fortified foods. Apparently orange juice is fortified with vitamin D. I mean, yeah, some of them are. Not all of them, but some. Milk and also yogurt, margarine, beef liver. That would also be a good source of vitamin D. And if you're feeling averse to fish and liver, don't even get me started on the taste of liver. I'll eat it, but damn, that tastes. Eggs. Get some eggs. If you don't like any of that stuff, eat some eggs. And I want to thank you guys for sticking around, and come check out my next video when I make it. Thanks guys. Catch you guys laters.